Hey, people, once again, we've made it to episode 69 of Find Music. I'm always looking. Yeah, find music. And I usually get inspiration from my comrades. And so my inspiration today definitely came from Mr. Whitlock. I tried to go in Jim's direction, but that's going to take more research. I thought of 10cc right away for strange song titles. But, they're probably too well known. I'll keep looking. But for now, I can definitely shoot off of GOV'T MULE with another offshoot of the Allman Brothers that you may have heard of. And if you haven't heard of them, they're quite a find, and that's Sea Level, named after Chuck Levell, who was a member of the Allman Brothers. And then instead of having a C, you use the word SEA. And I'll bring up my evil player. I've got what I believe are all four Sea Level albums. And it all started with the first album, which is just called Sea Level. And I believe it's hard to remember this far back. You know, this is like 45 years ago. I'm trying to remember which song I heard first, whether it was That's Your Secret or Shake a Leg, but they both came out in 77. So, you know, what does it matter? These two songs have vocals, so they're probably the most Allman Brothers-esque of their music. And there's an instrumental called Nothing. No, that's not instrumental. Nothing Matters But the Fever is actually a soulful song. They had a major soulful side as well. So they were jazz, they were soul, and they were rock all in one. Storm Warning is the one I'm thinking of. That's the one that's the most Allman sounding cut of everything here. It's like if you look at Cats on the Coast, which is my favorite Sea Level album anyway, That's Your Secret, extremely catchy, jazzy, heading in the Steely Dan direction. It Hurts to Want It So Bad, soulful song, very soulful, very meaty. Storm Warning, it could be from an Allman Brothers record, just a little more jazzy. And Cats on the Coast is more reflective jazz. It's calmer, smoother jazz. Yeah. So that's kind of the template, really. I discovered these other two albums later on. I didn't hear them in 78 and 79. I heard them like maybe just a couple of years ago, trying to see if there was any more Sea Level out there. And On the Edge, thank you, Windows Media Player, for taking away my rankings with every update. But there's some good songs as I recall in here. King Grand, 54. And it's kind of a similar template. I mean, they're mainly jazz, got some Allman Brothers flavor in there, and they got some soulful songs on every album, a couple soulful songs. That's kind of the template. And I guess they gave it up after 4 albums because it just didn't catch on with the public, or maybe they moved on to other things. I didn't research this. But I can definitely state I thoroughly enjoyed those first 2 albums. Really good listening if you like jazz rock, if you like the Allman Brothers. Yeah, they're just good quality songwriting. I mean, I would say the same thing about the Allman Brothers. The thing I love about the Allman Brothers is just good quality songwriting all the way through. I mean, they almost never had a bad album. I could say the same thing for Sea Level. These are good albums. If you like one, you're going to like them all. The fourth one, Long Walk on a Short Pier. Tear down this wall, but I'm sure that's way before anybody ever thought of the Berlin Wall. Yeah, they're just good, solid instrumental tracks. 20 Miles from Nowhere. You can almost pick out the soul songs. Too Many Broken Hearts, My Love, Just a Touch. And then you have your more unusual titles like Midnight Pass for jazz. And they're usually longer jams too. If you see a longer song, it's going to be a real jam. And that's about all I got to say about these guys. They're an interracial band, right? I applaud that. It always, they seem to be good bands, these interracial bands. They're mixing styles. So it's just so interesting to me because it works on every level. There are no clunkers here. Yeah. I don't know if my comrades have anything to say about Sea Level, especially Fred. I don't know.
Oh, they're a great band. I always loved them. Yeah, it's a shame they never caught on.
Yeah, but they weren't mainstream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're an Allman Brothers fan,
I think they weren't. What happened was for radio, they weren't rock enough for rock radio, FM, and they weren't jazzy enough for jazz stations. So they were caught in the middle.
And they weren't mellow enough for smooth jazz.
Yeah.
And no disco here.
Yeah, it's a shame radio always has to pigeonhole when some group fuses together several different styles. It's always a
they don't know what to do with
pleasure to listen to, but they don't fit in anywhere on the radio. So
I like a groove.
Overlooked.
You know, a groove is, I guess it's one of the things I like most in just about any music. And That's Your Secret has got a phenomenal groove. And that's what made me explore this groove. So,
when you consider the whole range of music, to me, the older I get, the more amazed I am at the sheer talent that you hear. But it's not just talent. You know, these people practice. You know, you can't pick up an instrument and be good at it unless you practice. And man, the ones that amaze me the most, for years, you know, look like Greg Allman and any of those, you know, really, really competent guitar players. It doesn't happen overnight. And, you know, I think it's really important to support people like if you love music, you got to put up with the neighbor next door who's practicing on the violin, you know. I mean, I think that, you know, when I was in college, I was snotty enough to believe I knew the difference between good music and what wasn't so good. And the older I get, the more I realize how arrogant that attitude was in terms of just regard for music. And it's really been fun to work with you guys and to communicate with you guys, because here we are expanding our horizons. I mean, you know, you brought up Vangelis last week, and I had heard the name before, but I'd never listened to Vangelis before. And I put that on the stereo this week, and man, I was blown away. That's some great stuff, you know. And Fred, you cracked me up when you brought up Savoy Brown, because I saw them in Ramona at a little theater. And, you know, what amazes me about that band has been going forward since the 60s, you know. And it's weird to admit this, but I remember that.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the 60s were a long time ago.
Yes, I kind of miss those, but I heard of Savoy Brown. Why?
Well, I think it has something to do with quality.
Yeah.
And the endurance of good stuff.
Yeah, Kim Simmons, you know, it's a shame he doesn't get mentioned in the same breath as Peter Green or Clapton and stuff. He's up there as a British guitar blues player.
Are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Savoy Brown, no.
They've been nominated. I've seen them in the nominees.
Really?
Yeah, they've been nominated, but they didn't get in.
See, the longer that goes on, you know, the further back those bands descend into the past, the less likely it is for them to be elected. And
So
I'm
true.
hoping that my letter to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame about Harry Nilsson, I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about how that process works. And, you know, Savoy Brown, you know, there are a lot of bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that won't endure as long as Savoy Brown has.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good note to finish this episode. Okay, people, just to rehash. Sea Level, check them out if you like the Allman Brothers. or if you like jazz, or if you like soul, all three. And Savoy Brown. Yeah, them too. Okay.